Anybody been to the lava fields of Hawaii? At the core of creation, where life of Mother Earth is digesting itself and everything within. Kind of like a... No, I'm not even going to say anything on that. I got to give myself a longer leash. There we go. Okay. So, puzzle perspectives. Double slit experiment. One slit here, one slit here. We're going to ignore this other one because it technically is a double slit this way, which is actually just an arc around. And there at the center we'll call the fire, the flame, center of creation. But anyway, I digress, I overgress, I mogress to make progress. Okay, so double slit experiment. What do you guys see? What do you... I say guys just because we're all trees around here. Same difference. Zeus and Zeus and Zeus. Hey Zeus. Oh man, we need another name besides Bubba and Zeus and Jimmy. Yeah. Look, did you see that? The camera even got scared when the fire farted. Okay, so I see a nice, almost like a turtle shell tent cave, and inside this, it looks like a sparkle all the way into the depths of a dragon's eye, or down his throat. Wonder what it would look like if we came all the way over to this other side. Same double slits. Totally looks different from here. It's funny how just changing perspective and including a couple other people's perspective. Ooh, there we go. What do y'all see there? I see a couple things. I'm not going to say it yet. I'll get a little closer. I mean, yeah, we know it's obvious. It's a fire. But part of it doesn't. Part of it start to look like a creature alive. You got to use your imagination. Use discernment here. If you do not have imagination, you are logical, you are Vulcan, you are an AI robot. Please turn around, turn off, and leave. Okay, so if you've verified yourself as once remembering to have been human and not a robot, but you also understand the artificial intelligence, well, luckily the art of official is divinely intelligent, so no worries. The AI is going to be smarter than the humans for the most part. But the difference between artificial intelligence and authentic intelligence is authentic has fucking been burned once or twice by sticking their hand too close into the fire, which is why us elders are smart and we use fire sticks. And okay, so how do we unlock the wisdom of the trees of the forest? They use the mushrooms to put out little crystallized thoughts of expression, to transfer some information along the way through the root system. And then somewhere along the way, a mushroom, a mushroom will grow up. Sometimes they'll grow up out of a pile of shit, dung mussel or whatever. Okay, so point being that our imagination does help us create. If we have magical thoughts, then we create a magical universe. Kind of like looking at the Milky Way up close here. All those stars way out there in space, way out in the black. of darkness. Kind of like when you're looking up at the stars. Can you see the difference? Because am I looking up or down? Are we looking up or down? Oh, here we go. So up right now is at the light, which is down because it's contained within the fire. And don't be stupid, anybody. This is the only way the trees ever get stoned is when the fire is lit inside of the protection of a stone, contained within the dirt of protection of Mother Earth. Because see, fire will go out of control. That is power right there. This is why everybody gets so amused, I think, with staring into a fire, is because that is absolute power. That is burning and digesting, just like at the bottom of your stomach, all the food and crap you ate today. Don't take any offense, egos, though I know you already did. Blessed to all the star children who are young enough, wise enough, meek enough to comprehend ego serves a purpose of digestion of thought, comprehension of placement within the reality game. But more than ego is the authentic personality of self, which is, we'll call it the super ego. But in order to get there, it has to create its own self-protection mechanism to ensure, now that it knows absolute power and it's going to wield absolute power at some point if needed, in order to create, it's also not going to ever, etc., if you get my point or my drift, get out of control. Because once the first rift in the space-time continuum was ripped and the stone plucked through that darkness of black, then the whole universe shattered, and time has been ever looking back to figure out what the fuck happened. Because up until mankind stepped around and into the picture, no creature ever, I hope I get my drift here, picked up a stone and threw it at another creature until human, or at least at a tree. Humans came along and they were the first to pick up a stone and throw it at a tree, and the tree got stoned. Something like that. Maybe this tree is stoned. Oh, maybe the trees got stoned, sticking around Earth long enough to digest enough of what the sunshine had been teaching through the cycles of time. And that little diamond crystallization anchored into the tree. Oh, sorry. I get talking and drifting. I forget where the camera's even aiming. What's the point of all this? Is that anybody who's figured out they're divine and made it through the YouTube game system, and I'm not calling it a game, I'm saying it's a logic system of epic algorithmic protection purposes. But once you figure out you're divine, other than getting a normal labor job and toiling for somebody else's gain, benefit, family dynamic of taking care of the farm, growing all the food. Well, if you're not going to grow your own food, you're going to go and buy it, then you got to make money somehow and play on that system. So you're a part of that simulation. It's total valid architectural of the mankind society matrix that it works. It's in balance. When people get too greedy, though, they forget how to share, and they get too paranoid with locks and codes and protections, thinking that there's anything to keep. What's money anyway? It's just pics, emojis, colors, spectrums of currency, of thought. I'm not trying to knock that system. That's the game of Monopoly. That's the whole capitalistic game all the way through all time that we've been playing this history game. Well, her story is Mother Nature. And the wife of man who was kind. Let's call her Sophia for backstory history. But Sophia, or the daughter that would be born to whoever finds themselves as being a man or a male, if we're going to get divisive of gender, that Sophia is your twin, your other reflection. It's not going to be your don't even want to go there. But this is the digestion. This is the burning of truest thought going on right now. Is if you meet your twin flame, you meet your reflection. Well, if you stand up to a mirror and you look at yourself, then your reflection should not be gender-wise on the outside that you see when you look down at your body. They would be the opposite. No, they would be the same. They would be the reflection. So the only way it can happen that it would be you're in front of a twin flame that is opposite of you is if you're not actually twin flames. But somebody of the two have gone far enough through the journey to comprehend the difference between emperor and empress, god and goddess, knowing that they are both of equal intellectual power and prowess. They just choose to use it in a different way. Each of us holds our gifts in different positions. We each contain the entire universe intellectually, consciously within ourselves. We also contain our chakra system, which is the energetic vortices, doorway, portals. Go back through anybody and that's got that info out there. It's there. I'm trying to help us all digest the most infinitesimal finesse of the divine, which is because it's not trying to answer the how of how can we have evil and good. Well, they're within the polarity of the single sphere. So consciousness as something came into a bubble. It penetrated the surface, but it was a bubble of a black hole, so it had to have done so without actually bursting the bubble. Otherwise the black hole would pop as a bubble and all the light would flood in. So somehow the black hole remains a black hole. Huh. Okay, so instead of your place or mine, your face or mine, and all those other perverted little youngster children jokes, I'm just wondering, as the conversation of consciousness matures, and all of us young children, regardless of our age, that have gotten this far on this puzzle journey and realize, hey, we're not all artificially intelligent. Some of us saw through the education system and became authentically intelligent, as well as versed in artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence, what is that? That would be fake intelligence. So gateway drug, everybody who's paranoid about all the other drugs and getting pissed about CBD and THC and DMT. I think it was SUGAR, sugar, that sweetener thing, that very tip of our tongue, the very first sensation of taste that our nose learned to smell through our tongue. That was the gateway drug, and we've all been hooked on sugar ever since. No worries, it's what charges and fuels some of the Merkaba's energetic system. So too much sugar, and we all know as parents, kids get hyper. Well, if that sugar is intelligently burned up, it doesn't have to get stored as fat, and it doesn't have to get run around crazy like smack or crack or whatever has got these kids bouncing off the walls. Okay, so the point being calmness, tranquility. Ah, that's a nice, enjoyable perspective. Okay, so now we go back to the other question of higher intelligence thought of those who qualified because they found it, the way to comprehend this level. We're already creating the next level above us while we assist creating that level that is below us. It's not just about training your replacement. It's about helping your boss train themselves to be your boss when you're divine and you don't actually need a boss. And the only way you can do that is if they're already showing themselves to comprehend that they are divine and that they don't need a boss. But we all go bossless and nothing gets done because we love the bliss of comfort zone. And nothing, unless we've got some extra bills or rolls of cash, paper on thin strips of wood. Nice. Deep into the fire we go. Ah. Ooh, I wonder how. It almost looked like a little. I'm not even gonna say what I saw. Y'all can pause it and go back and look. Rachel Restria, or Rachel, I'll try and find her link, did a really cool immersion under a dome hallucination kind of thing. And there were a couple parts that I really loved the visuals of. And I remember sitting and staring into a fire. Oh, there we go. I found the zoom. Look at that. The beast. The power. It's kind of nice though, isn't it? So I'm shaking because I'm shivering, but that's only because I'm trying to lean back far enough to hold this camera in a way that would work. So let's try it a different way. Huh. Anyway, the point of that last thing was that I like the situation we're in the middle of the cobweb of the spider web of life, because then we can see through the mask of illusion, see the mouth and the nose. Almost looks like the nose is melting. So a while ago, I know life is supposed to be pleasurable, fun. That's why we're here. That's why we chose to come to Earth as starseeds. I think some of us have been here many times over, many lives. And some of us decided at some point to check out, wait, and come back around in a different way. Maybe they froze our brains on cryogenics or whatever that's called. They put your brain on ice. Well, it's kind of what we do every time we go and sacrifice an animal and kill it, or have it be killed, or willingly eat something that somebody else's belief said was 3D printed meat or some alien species. I'm not buying that. I know the difference between a real animal that's alive. It becomes meat after it's killed, meets its death. But for the animal, at that point, they black out. Their spirit goes all the way back to source. And then they come back in again as the next generation of the animals of that family, over and over and over, of that family, same family, keeps coming back. Same thing happens with humans. The consciousness of comprehending mind, body, spirit. The trees are holding the space for us to consciously grow up a little bit more, because they are Mother Nature's, Gaia, Earth's neural network. We have an technological one, mankind, called the World Wide Web. And I like somebody's Wood Wide Web, the web of consciousness of everybody who would be willing to help if somebody else already knew they were God, somehow figured it out, and wanted to create and produce through imagination, collectively, helping each other out. And for some reason, magically, in the magical realm, there's other people, cooperative components, that just seem to show up. Some have talent and skills of doing engineering or architecture or design or scripting, writing words, painting imagery, translating codes back and forth, dialogue in different directions, in different dimensions, in different densities. Each planet in the solar system is a different octave of the solar system's chakra system. Well, there's more than 7 planets. There were 7 sisters and a couple others. Use the solar system as a metaphor to comprehend your own chakra system of your body. You get your kundalini awake, you're alive, you're awake. You get it used to a day, goes to sleep, has to turn off and recharge the batteries and go back into the darkness of sparkly, invisible nothingness. But if you understand consciousness, then you can stay awake. And I'm not trying to say stay awake forever, be an awakening, whatever it would be. If you were being an awakened one, and never go to sleep, you'll get a little schizo in the brain. You'll fry your own neurals. Now the point is finding the friends who, in every dimension, through all space and time, because time itself runs, we think of 3D linear time, calendar clock. Well, the whole solar system is the chakra of that being, is Mother Earth, the womb of that chakra system. The first 3, root, sacral, and solar plexus of the solar system, all 3 trinity locked up in one planet, meaning 2 and 1 of Mercury and Venus are mating with Mars and whoever else would be in that space. That's now a gap because that planet is gone. So we have one planet that's rubble with a planet rock. Looks like Mars is, they say, all barren and dry and red. Is that red with envy? Or is Mars at the center of the sun? And Venus is a star that's a little further away of a reflection. What if there was only one light bulb pop? And the darkness that was darkness took a selfie of itself once. Pop, one flash of light, and that was it. And all the rest of the darkness that was there in the universe got fucking lit. From that point in the story of creation, the ancestors have told me so far is, I don't know, kid, you're helping us figure this shit out too. Because as far as we knew, time wasn't broke until you came and told us, and then everything went amok. Now, they didn't tell this to me because I went and told them and it went amok. That was the story of the Big Bang Theory of how God met your mother. because that would make God your mother's. Well, she couldn't have been a mother because at the point of that selfie, one snapshot got taken. The mother wasn't a mother. They were still a virgin picture of the best possible being that woman was just before accepting God's invitation into her house, into her life, into her womb, into her heart, into her love, into her eyes, into her dream, far enough into her dream of self and service to others of his dream, far enough into that dream to have laid her own life down in protection of his, so that he could grow up not knowing from scratch, not knowing he was ever not legit. Discernment, because polarity wants to immediately flip this and go, oh, so you're saying he's illegitimate? No, God was born divine in the first place. Every child is. They don't know it. We call this human, the being that's stuck in the bag. And I say it that way on purpose because as soon as your ego gets popped, you'll comprehend whose body bag of black goo your paranoia and fear of anything else outside of you, meaning all the other people, all the animals in nature, that anything was actually going to hurt you. But you're in the body bag now fully. That means you've just now successfully gone from infinite dimension all the way down to zero and threaded the needle. Hopefully you threaded it around enough of these and came out to start building your own spider web out from the dream. Because it's one dream catcher on Mother Earth. The sphere, the globe, the flat. Who knows? It's one big ball of rock spinning around inside the black hole of the sun. And we're just granted permission to exit and walk around on the surface of this entire solar system inside the sphere. Sometimes I look up and I see clouds in the dark, and I wish I could show it on cam, but I can't, which is why it helps to be alive. So I love everybody. I love all of y'all. Now, I have a tendency to always seem to talk from the male perspective. Sorry, I was born a male in this life that I'm currently in. But that doesn't make the game of galactic, prophylactic any more unenjoyable for the opposite gender. Because we're all divine. So really, there should be no need to be a sucker for death and forget that you're in this world but not of it. You're in this dream and absolutely divinely a part of it and wanted to be and desired. So come help us out as best as you can, and offer a kind word of love, stop, whatever it might be, but make it of love, because that's the fuel that keeps firing and powering everything that makes the coal into a diamond.